On April 23, 1715, in Hopewell, New Jersey, a Baptist church was organized which would become historically significant for several reasons. For one thing, the land on which this church's first building would be built was donated by one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. This church also became notable because of the impactful ministry of its pastor, Isaac Eaton. And then, this Baptist church in Hopewell is known for the school that it started to prepare young men for the ministry. In 1706, Jonathan Stout and his family moved from Middletown, New Jersey, and became the very first residents of Hopewell, New Jersey. By 1715, the Stouts had 13 children, and that's when the 15 members of the Stout family started a church in their home. The church would meet in their home for the next 32 years. Eventually, a preacher from Pennsylvania named Joseph Eaton traveled to Hopewell to preach to their congregation at least once a month. He continued preaching there for 15 years. After him, several other men would fill the pulpit over the years. In 1747, 55 people who had been saved were baptized and added to the church. It was that year that a 34-year-old lawyer named John Hart donated a piece of his land to the Baptist church in Hopewell, where they would build their first church building. John Hart would later get involved in the cause of American independence from Great Britain. He was sent to the Second Continental Congress as a delegate representing the colony of New Jersey, and John Hart was one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. There are numerous historical markers near the site of the Hopewell Church detailing the life of John Hart. In 1748, Joseph Eaton's 24-year-old son Isaac was ordained as pastor of the Hopewell Baptist Church. Though Isaac Eaton had never had the opportunity to be officially trained for the ministry, he was so diligent in personal study that everyone who heard him considered him a scholar. One man who regularly heard Isaac Eaton preach wrote, "Mr. Eaton's mode of explaining the Scriptures is so impressive that all give earnest heed to what he says." The historian Morgan Edwards recorded that there have been remarkable revivals in this church. In 1747, 55 were baptized. In 1764, 123 converts were added. And in 1775 and 76, 105 united with the church. In 1756, Isaac Eaton and the Hopewell Baptist Church started the Hopewell Academy to train young men for the ministry. Hopewell Academy was the first Baptist school established in North America for the purpose of preparing young men to serve the Lord. It was in operation from 1756 until 1767, and during those years, numerous young men studied, graduated, and went on to college to train for the ministry. John Gano, the founding pastor of the First Baptist Church of New York City, was born in Hopewell, New Jersey in 1727, called to preach in 1752, licensed to preach in 1753, and ordained in 1754. This all happened before the academy was opened, but Isaac Eaton was John Gano's pastor and mentor, and the Hopewell Baptist Church was very influential in preparing John Gano for the ministry. Isaac Eaton preached John Gano's ordination message, a very lengthy and detailed sermon from 1 Timothy 4:6. John Gano would go on to establish and pastor the First Baptist Church of New York City, which is still preaching the gospel today, and he became one of the most influential preachers in America during the American Revolution. John Gano was always grateful to his pastor and mentor, Isaac Eaton, even naming one of his sons, Isaac Eaton Gano. Some of the other men to come out of Hopewell Baptist Church and Hopewell Academy were Hezekiah Smith, the pastor and church planter in Haverhill, Massachusetts, known as the Apostle to New England; James Manning, who became the founding president of Rhode Island College, the Baptist college that later became Brown University; Samuel Jones, who became a very influential preacher among the Philadelphia Baptists; David Jones, a missionary to the American Indians, a pastor, a chaplain in the Continental Army, and an author; Isaac Skillman, a prominent pastor and author during the Revolution; Pastor John Blackwell; Pastor Isaac Bunnell; Pastor John Davis; Pastor David Sutton and his brother, Pastor John Sutton; missionary David Thomas; Pastor Charles Thompson; and Pastor William Worth. The building that housed the Hopewell Academy was a parsonage built in 1750. Though it's been renovated several times over the years, the original building is still standing at 19 West Broad Street in Hopewell, New Jersey. In front of the historic building is a sign that reads, Hopewell Academy, founded here in Baptist Parsonage, 1765. Alumni James Manning and Hezekiah Smith developed Brown University. Isaac Eaton pastored the Hopewell Baptist Church until the day he died, July 4th, 1772, at 47 years of age. He was buried inside of the church building. His marble marker stated, In him, with grace and eminence did shine the man, the Christian, scholar, and divine. Christian, pour your life into the work of the gospel. Stay the course.